Have you ever been halfway through a day that used to feel like a breeze, and suddenly you find yourself just out of steam? Or maybe you've caught yourself thinking, I could have done that easily a few years ago, and now it feels just out of reach. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know, first and foremost, that you are not alone. It's a conversation so many of us are having, but we often keep it to ourselves. But what if I told you that some of these little changes aren't just a one-way street? What if they're not just a countdown, but actually signposts? Clues that can tell us exactly where our body is on its journey, and more importantly, how we might just be able to turn some of those signs around. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about something truly fascinating. We're going to look at 7 things that many folks over 60 often find themselves struggling with. But here's the twist, we're not going to look at them as losses. No, we're going to see them as indicators. Little signals our body is sending us. And when we start to see improvement in these areas, it's one of the clearest signs that your body isn't just aging gracefully, it might actually be aging in reverse. You're doing things that defy the so-called rules of getting older. Now, I want to be clear from the very start. This isn't about chasing some impossible fountain of youth. It's not about comparing yourself to the you that was 25. This is about feeling vibrantly, powerfully, wonderfully you in the body you have right now. It's about reclaiming strength, rediscovering energy, and finding a deep, lasting sense of well-being that can absolutely be a part of this chapter of our lives. So, let's begin with one of the most common things I hear from friends and viewers like you. The first signpost is something that can really affect your whole day, and that's waking up feeling tired. Not just a little sleepy, but that deep, heavy fatigue that makes you want to pull the covers back over your head. You might have slept for 7 or 8 hours, but you wake up feeling like you barely closed your eyes. It's that feeling that your battery didn't actually charge overnight. For a long time, we're told, well, that's just part of getting older. But is it? What if your body is trying to tell you something about the quality of your sleep, not just the quantity? You see, as we age, our sleep cycles can change. We spend less time in the deep, restorative stages of sleep, and that's what leaves us feeling drained in the morning. But when you start making a few gentle shifts, and we'll talk about those in a bit, and you begin to wake up before the alarm, feeling genuinely refreshed, with a mind that's clear and a body that feels rested, that is a powerful, undeniable signal. That is your body telling you that its fundamental repair systems are working beautifully. That is the first sign that you are moving in a reverse direction. And that feeling of renewed energy in the morning often leads us directly to the second signpost. This one happens during the day. It's that sudden, overwhelming need to sit down and rest in the middle of an activity that you used to take in stride. Maybe it's grocery shopping. You remember when you could pop in, get the week's shopping, load the car, and get on with your day. Now, halfway through the produce aisle, you're looking for a bench. Or perhaps it's doing a bit of gardening, and after 20 minutes of light weeding, you're completely spent and need to go inside for a long break. This isn't about being lazy. This is about stamina. Our endurance can decline because of changes in our heart's efficiency, our lung capacity, and our muscle mass. But when you notice that you can push through the grocery trip without that desperate search for a seat, or you can spend a full hour in the garden and still have a little spring in your step as you walk back to the house, that is a monumental victory. It means your cardiovascular system is getting stronger, your muscles are becoming more efficient, and your body is better at delivering energy where it's needed. It's a sign that you are building back your reservoir of vitality, one small effort at a time. Now, let's talk about something a little different, but just as important. It's something we often don't think about until we have to think about it. And that's balance. The third signpost is that moment of uncertainty when you stand up from a chair, or that slight wobble you feel when you turn your head too quickly. Maybe you find yourself holding onto the banister a little tighter, or you avoid walking on uneven surfaces because you just don't feel as steady on your feet as you once did. This is about more than just avoiding a fall, although that's certainly crucial. It's about your body's internal communication system, your nerves talking to your muscles, your ears communicating with your brain. When that system is sluggish, you feel unsteady. But when you start to notice that you can get up from the sofa without having to pause for a second to find your footing, or you can walk across the lawn without a second thought, that is a profound change. It means your neural pathways are firing quickly, your core strength is solid, and your body is operating with a sense of confident stability. That feeling of being firmly grounded, of trusting your own 2 feet, is a fantastic indicator that your body is reclaiming its youthful coordination. So, we've covered waking up with energy, maintaining your stamina throughout the day, and feeling steady on your feet. These are 3 powerful ways to gauge how you're really doing. But there's more to this story, and it often starts with the simple, everyday movements we used to take for granted. You know, it's fascinating how the most ordinary moments can tell us the most extraordinary things about our health. It's not always about running a marathon or lifting heavy weights. More often, it's in the quiet, simple acts of our daily life where we see the most telling signs. Like that feeling of steadiness we were just talking about, it connects so deeply to something else many of us start to notice. Let's talk about getting up and down. I mean, really getting up and down. From a low, soft sofa, or perhaps from a kneeling position in the garden. For a long time, this was something you just did. You didn't think about the sequence of movements, you didn't look for something to grab onto. It was effortless. But then, one day, you find yourself planning your exit from a low chair. You might push off with your hands, or you let out a little grunt as you rise. And getting down on the floor to play with a grandchild or look for something under the bed. Well, that starts to feel like a major expedition, and the journey back up feels even more daunting. This, my friend, is our 4th signpost. It's about functional strength and mobility. It's not about how much you can bench press at a gym, it's about the practical, powerful strength in your legs and core that lets you navigate the world with independence. When those muscles weaken, and when our joints become less supple, the floor feels a million miles away. But when you start to notice that you can lower yourself down with control, and then, here's the real magic, get back up again without having to crawl over to the nearest piece of furniture for assistance, that is a moment of true triumph. It means your major muscle groups are firing together, your joints are supported, and you are maintaining the very foundation of an independent life. That ability to rise with ease, from anywhere, is a powerful declaration that your body is working for you, not against you. And that sense of physical freedom is so closely linked to our 5th signpost, which lives right in the heart of our own homes. Let's walk over to the kitchen cabinet. I want you to think about reaching for a plate on the top shelf. Or maybe picturing yourself trying to look over your shoulder to back the car out of the driveway. For years, this was a simple twist of the body, a quick glance. But now, you might find your whole body turning like a statue, or you feel a little pinch in your neck or shoulder. That easy, fluid range of motion begins to tighten up, as if someone has put an invisible limit on how far you can move. This loss of flexibility isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's like the hinges on a door slowly starting to rust from lack of use. Our muscles and connective tissues shorten and tighten, and we unconsciously start to move in smaller, safer ways to avoid any discomfort. But when you begin to notice that you can glance over your shoulder without moving your feet, or you can reach for that item on the high shelf without a second thought, that is your body telling you that the rust is coming off the hinges. The fluidity is returning. That easy, graceful movement, the kind you see in a dancer or a swimmer, isn't a gift reserved for the young. It's a sign of a body that is being cared for, stretched, and loved back into a state of supple readiness. It's a clear indicator that you are reclaiming the full, natural movement you were born with. Now, all of this, the strength, the stamina, the flexibility, it all feeds into something even bigger. It feeds into a sense of joy, of engagement with life. And that brings us to our 6th signpost, which is a little different because it's not purely physical, though it's rooted in the physical. It's that feeling of wanting to say no, thank you to a social invitation because you're just too tired. It's the thought of going out for an evening with friends feeling more like a chore than a pleasure. It's that slow, quiet retreat from the activities and the people that used to light you up, simply because the thought of mustering the energy for them feels overwhelming. This isn't about being antisocial. This is about your energy reserves being so depleted that your world subtly, slowly, begins to shrink. You conserve energy by cutting out the things that are, ironically, some of our greatest sources of joy and vitality. But when you feel that inner spark, that genuine desire to connect, to go out, to be a part of things, and you have the physical vitality to back it up, that is a beautiful, beautiful sign of reverse aging. It means your body and your spirit are in sync. You're not just living, you're engaging. You're saying yes to life, and that yes is one of the most powerful medicines in the world. It's a signal that your health is not just about the absence of illness, but the vibrant presence of well-being. And that feeling, that wonderful yes to life, it truly is the heart of the matter, isn't it? It's what makes all this effort so worthwhile. Because when you have the energy to engage and the strength to participate, it changes your entire outlook. It colors your world with a brighter, more hopeful hue. And it's in this vibrant, engaged state of being that we discover our seventh and final signpost, one that might just be the most important of all. This last one is about your mind, but not in the way you might immediately think. We often worry about memory, and that's important, of course. But I'm talking about something even more fundamental, your mental spark. That feeling of being quick, of being sharp, of having a mind that feels like a clear, calm lake instead of a foggy, cluttered room. So many of us, as the years go by, start to feel a little slower. We might lose our train of thought in the middle of a sentence, forget a word that's right on the tip of our tongue, or feel a little overwhelmed by new technology or a complicated set of instructions. It can feel like the processor in your brain is just running a little slower than it used to. We often just shrug and say, it's a senior moment, and accept it as inevitable. But what if it isn't? What if that mental fogginess, that lack of clarity, is another signpost? When your body is struggling with inflammation, poor circulation, or a lack of deep, restorative sleep, your brain feels it first. It's the most sensitive instrument in your entire body. But when you begin to notice that your thinking feels crisp again, that you're remembering names and appointments with ease, that you're curious and eager to learn something new, maybe even figuring out that new smartphone feature you've been avoiding, that is a profound signal. It means the pathways in your brain are firing optimally. It means you're nourishing your mind just as you're nourishing your body. That feeling of mental sharpness, of being present and quick-witted in a conversation, is one of the most exhilarating signs that you are not just getting older, you are getting better. So, there we have them. 7 signposts. From waking up refreshed, to having lasting energy throughout your day, feeling steady on your feet, getting up and down with ease, moving with fluidity and grace, saying yes to social life, and enjoying a clear, sharp mind. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, that sounds wonderful, but is it really possible for me? And I am here to look you right in the eye and tell you, with all my heart, yes. It absolutely is. This isn't about drastic, overwhelming overhauls. It's about gentle, consistent, loving shifts. It's about choosing to go for a 10-minute walk today, and maybe 11 minutes tomorrow. It's about drinking 1 more glass of water, adding 1 extra vegetable to your plate, and taking 5 deep, calming breaths before you get out of bed in the morning. It's about remembering that you are the author of your story, and this chapter can be filled with more vitality and joy than you might have thought possible. Remember, your body wants to heal. It wants to be strong. It is designed for vitality. Sometimes, it just needs us to clear the path a little, to provide the right kind of fuel and the right kind of movement. Every single small choice you make in the direction of your well-being is a vote for a more vibrant life. I would love to hear about your journey. What was the first little sign you noticed that made you feel like you were turning back the clock? Maybe it was being able to tie your shoes without getting out of breath, or perhaps you finally mastered that new recipe because your focus was so sharp. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be the very thing that inspires someone else to take their first step. If this conversation resonated with you, if it gave you a little bit of hope and a few ideas, please do give this video a like. It helps us reach more wonderful people like you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what we'll be talking about next. We're here, building a community, supporting each other, and proving that our later years can be some of our very best. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, it's never too late to feel good. Here's to your health, your happiness, and to you, living your very best life.